live and live. Live and online, it's Sleepless with Steve and the Movie Book Club with your host, Steve Pulaski.
Back and better than ever, live on YouTube. It is Sleepless with Steve, coming to you live and in living color every Wednesday evening, 6:30 Central Time. We're under the impression that Dominic Guanzon was going to join us tonight. Not sure where he is. Maybe he will pop in. We shall see. Because we got a lot of stuff to touch on tonight, though. Got Joe Viso in tow hosting the show. Grateful for that. Man, this has been a really dispiriting week of weeks, has it not? This has been a really, really sad time in the entertainment landscape. Yesterday we lost Dolly Parton. Today we lose Tim Curry at the age of 80, both of them born in 1946. Because I called an audible for the movie today and suggested the new Reed Timmer storm chasing documentary, Never Stop Chasing, you know, it was like one of the only few new releases, and we didn't have Tony in my area last weekend, so that's why I suggested it, and I appreciate you guys playing ball with that one. I think it's safe to say that we could probably review that movie in like 20 to 25 minutes. I don't think it's one that requires a ton of like a normal length show, so I think for the first half of the show, we can talk Dolly Parton and Tim Curry if that works for you.
Yeah, I'm down for that. I mean, because, like, yeah, I got quite a bit to say about the documentary, but, like, you know, I don't have much to say about it, so I'm good with that.
Okay, that's fine. All right, that's fine. I was going to say, we could take, like, a half an hour or two for Never Stop Chasing. I was thinking, I have, like, a moderate amount of things to say.
Yeah.
You know, as far as that's concerned. While we're at it, I'll just throw a mention too. Next week is the long-awaited, at least amongst us, release of Coyote versus Acme, which I got to see this weekend, part of an early screening with AMC. Trying to bite my tongue and not say too much. But super excited to talk about this movie. Really can't wait.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see it. I might go see it Saturday night with my dad after the preseason game. I almost said pre-game. After the preseason game with the Bears, or I might go see it Sunday. I'm very much looking forward to it.
I can't wait. There's a lot out this weekend. Like Catherine and I were looking. We're gonna see Terminator 2 in 3D on Friday. We're gonna see Tony, that new horror movie Buddy, directed by Casper Kelly from Too Many Cooks. We're going to see that one. And then there's one other one, Idiots, is also out. There's a lot of shit out this weekend. Like a lot of like small movies. None of these movies are going to like make, hopefully Coyote versus Acme, fingers crossed, but a lot of small genre movies I'm really excited about.
That's why August usually was like this like dump month as well. Like, you know, they have the FU, it's January. They also be FU, it's August.
Yeah.
But as years have gone on, August sometimes would happen. Like 2 years ago was Weapons, or maybe last year. It was last year. Yeah, it was last year. Weapons was the big release in August, and look how well that turned out. I mean, it made $100 million at the box office easily and everything. Yeah, so I think like while Coyote versus Acme is definitely the one, it's like, oh man, like, you know, fingers crossed that this does make its money back. I feel like enough time has passed with the Odyssey and Spider-Man now. It's literally a month later since Spider-Man came out, and more so with the Odyssey. That's like, I'm hoping film goers are like, yeah, you know what, maybe I should go see Coyote versus Acme instead of going to watch one of those two films for like the third time.
No, I know that wouldn't it be nice? You know, as the Beach Boys once said, There's also two, and I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about it. There's like two movies. I wouldn't mind seeing Spa Weekend. I haven't had a chance to see that one though. It did. There's a new Insidious movie that came out, and I don't give a crap about Insidious. I stopped watching the Insidious movies after two, and then there's another god awful Jason Statham looking movie called Mutiny, and we ain't gonna talk about that crap either. It's another guy I can't stand personally. You know, but I'm just looking though. Never Stop Chasing. This thing was only in 126 theaters.
That's kind of crazy because it was in my local theaters, so like I was actually kind of shocked hearing that. I'm like, wow, I'm one of the lucky few then.
126 theaters across the country. It made $164,000 this weekend, which honestly is not that bad considering that this thing kind of arrived with very little marketing and very little promotion or anything like that. I don't know. I guess we'll start here though before we dive into Never Stop Chasing or before we will dive into Never Stop Chasing later on. And stuff. We'll talk about that. I almost forgot the elephants in the room. The heavy stuff we have to address here. That's what happens when I pull up Box Office Mojo. We got to talk about this, though. We got to talk first about Dolly Parton, passing away at the age of 80, the queen of country, one of the most honored performers in country music history. 11 Grammys, 3 Emmys, 2 Academy Award nominations, 6 Golden Globes, and a Tony, to say the very least.
Yeah.
But other than that, though, wonderful singer, wonderful artist, great songwriter, great, really fun actress, too, and a lot of the movies she was in, like 9 to 5, Steel Magnolias, The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. And then you have the humanitarian that she was, too. Absolutely tremendous. The reason she was not a billionaire is because she gave so much away.
Yeah.
She gave so much money to different things. I talked actually, a coworker brought this up to me today too. He's like 4 of his grandkids get books from the Dolly Parton book exchange that she does that gives away like 320 million books to school children every single year.
The Imagination Library.
Yeah, the Imagination Library. I couldn't think of the name. Thank you. Because apparently how that got started was the fact that she loved her parents. Her dad was illiterate though. And her dad, she talked about, was a really smart guy, but always was really bashful because of the fact that he was illiterate.
Yeah.
And she didn't want to have anybody else go through that hell. So she thought if she could supply school children with books and fund that program every single year, it could help combat, illiteracy in America. She's an absolutely wonderful person. I know a lot of her songs. I'm not versed on a ton. I probably could name a dozen, and I love country music, which is weird. But for as long as I can remember, and probably long as most people can remember, she's really transcended music, even though she makes some damn good music, into just being one of the most beloved celebrities.
Yeah.
In history. I mean, you think about it, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but there are very few people like her, in the celebrity circuit that everybody collectively loves. And that's kind of where I'll start with Dolly.
Yeah, for me, man, I mean, for the longest time, I didn't know she was a singer. She was such a pop cultural phenomenon that I just thought she was someone like Oprah or Ozzy Osbourne. Well, I knew Ozzy Osbourne was a singer, but when we were growing up, he was the reality TV star, and so was Sharon, basically, on, reality talk shows and stuff like that. So, when I found out she was a singer, and I love 9 to 5, that's a great song. It's one of my favorite songs, from country music in general. I was shocked. I was like, oh, this is what she's known for, because it's I see her in everything but her music almost all the time. I never have been to Dollyland. I have been to Tennessee, of course, but I've never been to Dollyland. I've always wanted to go. Dollywood, sorry, not Dollyland. I've heard it's such a cool theme park to go to and everything. But yeah, man, I mean, her cameos throughout Disney Channel movies or even just the Disney Channel shows, as well as just pop culture in general and just the references to her. You could tell how sweet she is. As I got older, that's when I learned about, the humanitarian side of her, with her book program, to how she helped during the COVID crisis, if you want to go to recent things, as well as Black Lives Matters movement. Very much a woman who just cared about the world and just wanted to find peace and wanted to make sure everybody was just A-okay. Just heartwarming. It had almost like a mom feeling to her without her actually being a mother to any of us, but she had that mother, charm to her, where she's like, yeah, I just want to make sure you're okay and everything. In terms of other recent things she did, I mean, I loved her collaborate. I'm a big Sabrina Carpenter fan. I love Sabrina Carpenter's music. I think it's very fun pop music, so very much enjoyed the collaboration they had recently. But yeah, it's sad to see her go, especially I think 2 years ago, or no, it was last year as well. Her husband, I think, passed away last year.
Yep.
And I knew around then she wasn't doing too hot, and it's sad to say this, but it's like when someone health-wise isn't doing the best and they have someone near them kind of move up, pass away as well. I've always noticed it's not long until they go as well. It happened with Carrie Fisher and her mom. When Carrie passed away, the mom was already having health problems, so it was no surprise that later, 6 months later, Carrie Fisher's mom passed away. It often happens, and it's just very sad. So I know a lot of people are like, well, thank God, hopefully Dolly can live longer and everything. And I was just I'm like, she's got health problems right now. I know the cancer thing wasn't always out there to most people, and it started I think it mainly just started coming out now. There was always
I think it was just revealed for the first time. She had her health issues were kept vague, but it was just revealed yesterday that it was cancer.
It was there was vagueness to it, where it was sometimes I would see something on just Twitter or whatever, and it's just Dolly Parton hasn't been seen in X so amount of days in public. It's oh fuck, that means she might be sick. That's usually what it means when a celebrity hasn't been noticed like that. So yeah, overall just very sad. I mean, yes, she made it to 80, but I don't know, man. You gotta get past at least 80. You gotta get to to me, it's you lived a full life for sure, but you should be able to live throughout your 80s as well. You should get through it. But yeah, man, country music Hall of Fame star Dolly Parton, rest in peace. It's gonna be sad seeing her pop up probably in other cameos she might have filmed or whatever, or if I go back and I just rewatch movies from the early 2000s and she pops up in some way.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, like I said, she was nominated for 2 Oscars. It wouldn't surprise me if she singled out for a special tribute at the Oscars next year.
Yeah. I mean, everybody loves this woman.
Yeah, she has the closest thing to 100% approval rating of a person. I was thinking, I actually heard it on the Dan Patrick show today. They were talking about who else is a universally beloved celebrity like Dolly, like Betty White.
I was gonna say Betty White's the only other one that can come to mind.
There's two that the Danettes mentioned, one of whom Keanu Reeves, and the other being Morgan Freeman.
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah.
There's not many people that are just universrsally beloved. You said you like 9 to 5. You said you like 9 to 5.
I love that, but I also love her cover of Led Zeppelin. Because she does a Led Zeppelin tribute at one of her concerts. You can't get that on Spotify. You gotta look it up on YouTube and everything. And it's been trending on Twitter again recently. But I remember I found it when I was just kind of going through a rabbit hole of just Dolly Parton stuff one night. This is back in college when I was staying up till 3 a.m. and needed something in the background to play. And I was listening to 9 to 5, and I was I want to learn a bit more about Dolly Parton. So if you haven't listened to her cover some Led Zeppelin, definitely do that.
I can't make it through Coat of Many Colors with Dry Eyes. That is a great song. That is a great song because that's her childhood. Yeah, that's her childhood in that song. I mean, she grew up it's not if she said as much. She grew up dirt poor. There's a story that's come out too that when she was born, her parents paid the hospital in cornmeal. Yeah, because they were farmers because they were so damn poor. Like, and so she came from really nothing. And you can tell that based on like how philanthropic she became later in life. And Coat of Many Colors, like that's an autobiographical ballad. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? About the coat her mother made her out of rags. And it's and like I said, I can never make it through that damn song Dry Eyed. I really like what were you saying?
I was gonna say, Here You Come Again is another one of my favorites, and I like Jolene. I don't love it as many other people do.
Same.
I know it's her signature song. I know, but it's like I'm just not in love with it as much as everybody else is.
Yeah, I've heard it enough. That's the thing. Like 9 to 5 I really enjoy. Jolene I've just like feel like I've heard enough. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's not a bad song. I like her. I do like her work with Porter Wagner. I think Porter Wagner is really a tremendously underrated country singer. If you're not familiar, Porter Wagner was the one who like discovered her in so many words.
Yeah.
They were a touring act together, and she was on the Porter Wagner show as a performer. Their partnership lasted for many years, and then she wanted to break and do solo work, and that's where the song I Will Always Love You came from, was her breaking away from Porter Wagner to then do her own stuff. Then I was reading too, Porter supported her. Porter wanted to make sure though he got the publishing rights for I Will Always Love You after she wanted to make sure he got those. Here's a crazy fact too about Dolly Parton as well too. Like she denied Elvis the ability of recording that song. Whitney
Really?
Houston got it. She denied the Elvis because Elvis would have then owned Elvis wanted the ownership of the song if he were to cover it.
Okay.
And she wrote it. So she was like, "No, I don't want to give up. I don't want to give up ownership." And she talked about crying all night because of that decision. I mean, think about it. You're a songwriter and fucking Elvis comes knocking. You're a songwriter. You came from nothing. Elvis wants to do your song, but you not only as a woman in like the 60s tell Elvis no, but then like keep the rights to the song.
Yeah.
And then eventually Whitney, I mean, you couldn't afford to see this at the time, Whitney Houston covers it, and it becomes one of the best-selling songs of all time. And Dolly later joked and said that I made so much money off of Whitney's version I could buy Graceland. Like, I mean, that's insane, and you can never, I'm always curious because, when an artist covers a song, like they don't reap any financial benefit of that song.
Yeah.
And there's all sorts of restrictions too sometimes about like the ability to be able to perform the songs in concert. Like I've always wondered like how much money did Tracy Chapman make off of Luke Combs's Fast Car? Like she had to have made millions. She had to have made fucking millions because all the streaming revenue of the song goes to her.
Yeah.
Because it's not Combs's song. The same thing with I Will Always Love You. Whitney didn't make any money from that song. So I've always wondered like how much money has that cover made her? And it's like, I mean, you want to talk about passive income shit, write a standard that then becomes another standard. But yeah, it was really sad. Like it was really sad to hear about the passing of Dolly. Anything else to add? No, it's a kind of feels brief, but there is quite a bit to say about her.
I'll say this too, because I forget which Muppets thing she was involved in. I can't remember if it's a show or a movie, but I always say this. If you have made it onto the Muppets as a celebrity, that's how you know you've made it. If you're a celebrity guest star on the Muppets, like you're not playing a character on the Muppets, you were the celebrity guest star. That's how you know you made it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Again, this is Sleepless with Steve. Before we talk about the movie of the hour today, Never Stop Chasing, we also got to pay respects to another great gentleman who passed away, unfortunately, Tim Curry. Phenomenal actor. This one was like a real punch between the eyes, too, for me and Catherine alike. Tim Curry, what a wonderful actor. I just want to say that first and foremost. What a wonderful dude. Somebody who always took characters and by the time the movie ended, you really couldn't have seen that particular whatever character it was be played by anybody but Tim Curry.
Yeah.
Whether it was Dr. Frankenfurter in the Rocky Horror Picture Show, whether it was Darkness in the movie Legend, whether it was Wadsworth and Clue in 85 rather. There's so many roles, big and small. Penny and It, the miniseries, the OG miniseries. I mean, he was a capital P performer. Like, this guy was a physical presence, and on top of everything, just charismatic as hell. And I still contend, I think it's probably the best musical ever made, and it's surely, in my opinion, one of the best performances. Him as Dr. Frankenfurter in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Just one of the all-time great performances, period, point blank, in any movie. Start there.
How do you follow up after the Rocky Horror Picture Show, man? No, dude, honestly, yeah, the Rocky Horror Picture Show is like instant classic musical movie. Sweet Transvestite is one of the best songs in that movie, and it's because of just how much dedication he has to the character, but also how much he just owns it when he comes on screen as well. I always loved him in the Clue movie as well as Wadsworth. That to me is one of my favorite performances of his. And if Dom was here, which I really hope he's okay.
Yeah,
but
really.
I will bring this up on Dom's behalf because I know this is something he would bring up. I'm not as familiar with these games as he is, but Curry has done a ton of voice acting work, a ton of it. The most infamous role is where he plays a communist called Cherdenko. I think it's Premier Cherdenko, and he's part of the video game series called Command and Conquer. It's a real-time strategy game. Basically, you make units, you send units somewhere, you see if they can defeat the enemy, you strategize, basically. But the cool thing about Command and Conquer is that they use, like, real actors for their cutscenes. So you have you have Tim Curry just recording all these like crazy like game over screens or mission success screens or mission briefing screens, and he's just wearing all this like communist gear on it and everything, and he looks hilarious the entire time while doing it. It's one of my favorite parts about the game too, is that how much he's just, embracing the character. He's one of the best parts about it, because you could play as other factions in the game, but it's like everybody was playing this faction because of Tim Curry, because, goddamn, it's Tim Curry. But it's also just how dedicated he was to it. Again, I never played the game, but I've watched the clips that he's featured in. But games that I have played that he's voice acted in is Brutal Legend, where he voices the villain, Dovilicus. That's the Jack Black game from Tim Curry, where it's like basically you're in the land of heavy metal. And it's the best way I would describe it is, imagine if Zelda was a heavy metal game, and it's just like you go on these adventures and you go and unlock abilities that will help you solve dungeons and puzzles and stuff to defeat and then eventually defeat an enemy. He's also in Dragon Age Origins. That's a role-playing game in medieval times and everything. But the guy just kept doing more and more and more, man. I mean, like, as you scroll through his IMDb, I mean, it's 245 credits he had. Nigel Thornberry, I gotta throw that one in there. How can I forget the infamous Nigel Thornberry, man? I mean, goddamn. Yeah, as I'm just going through, it is just insane to actually keep looking at this. I forget he's in the Charlie's Angels movies as well. Tons of voice acting work, like I said, and tons of appearances on TV shows. In some way, there's no way. I think if you have been watching TV as a kid, like cartoons, or if you've been watching movies since the 80s and 90s, even the 70s, since Rocky Horror Picture Show, there's no way you did not come across Tim Curry in some sort of way. When you have 243 credits with 2 upcoming films on the way as well, I don't know how because I know he had a stroke and everything, so I don't know how his acting was with some of these more recent films like Stream, and then the upcoming 2 films he's gonna be in, which is Stream 2 Sudden Death or Dragon Troll World Chronicles. That one's a voice role, but I don't know if the Stream role is a voice one either. I'm not familiar with it.
I did see it. We did watch it. He is confined to a wheelchair in the movie.
Oh,
so it's
okay.
built on his character. He doesn't do a whole lot. He doesn't do a whole lot. He's good, like he's capable, but like he's physically limited. He's in his actual wheelchair.
Gotcha. Okay. I was always wondering, like, is it a voice? What is it exactly? But hey, man, I mean, dude, when you have 243 credits on IMDb, that just means one thing. You fucking loved acting, so you don't want to stop. Like, you'll do anything just to, like, get that itch of, like, I just need to act one more time. I want to be a character. Especially when you played characters like he did from Dr. Frankenfurter, Wadsworth. Hell, I don't like this movie, but it's one of his ones that he's known for, Congo. Like, he's one of the best parts about it. Long John Silver in the Muppets Treasure Island movie. I mean, again, I could keep going on and on, but like, geez, man, the guy is such a treasure to film fans, especially if you grew up during the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And like I said earlier before Steve popped back up on screen here, man, if you grew up in the 2000s, there's no way you didn't come across him as a kid in some voice acting role, whether it was a video game or a kid's cartoon.
No, extremely well said. He really found a way to leave an impact in some way on pretty much any role that he took. He always gave a gravity. He always had a very distinctive either costumes or voice or what have you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
Nigel Thornberry. I mean, that's a distinct voice.
Yes, it is. Like, yeah, and going back though, he did do a ton of voiceover work and stuff like that when he later moved to America. Did a couple Scooby-Doo movies. I was gonna say Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost back in 1999. Don Bluth's The Pebble and the Penguin. I remember that. He was also in Charlie's Angels, the 2000 movie too. So I mean, you look. And then also too, I remember I went back and watched like the first season and a half of this show. The cartoon Duckman, he's the villain in that show.
Yeah.
You ever seen Duckman? He was really good in that too.
Darkwing. No, that's not Duck. That's Darkwing Duck. Never mind.
That's Darkwing Duck. No, this Duckman's voiced by Jason Alexander from Seinfeld.
Yeah, you're right. My bad.
Great show. But yeah,
you know what I'll say too. I know Skarsgård is known as Pennywise. I don't think the It miniseries is all that great in general, but he is a fun Pennywise to watch on screen. Tim Curry really did bring a lot of energy to that role where it's like, hey, this miniseries isn't all that great, but he's making it like a ton of fun to watch.
I like the miniseries a lot.
Okay.
The first part.
I was gonna say I like when they're kids. When they become adults, that's when the miniseries kind of tinkers off for me.
And that's the later movies too. That's it. Chapter 2.
Yeah.
I think it's just a story flaw. They're never more interesting than when they're kids.
Yeah.
They're never more interesting than when they're kids. I think that's just a cut and dry fact of it. But yeah, like I was talking about how I think it's just one of the all-time great performances, period, him as Dr. Frankenfurter in Rocky Horror. I can also say you could make the argument as far as like the 10 greatest performances in horror movie history. There would be Jack Nicholson in The Shining. There would be Anthony Hopkins in The Silence of the Lambs. You know what I mean? There would be certain ones of those. Tim Curry in It. I think you could make a legit argument for it because he was fucking terrifying in that movie, and just profoundly impactful. Coming in, what's going on, Dominic? Cannot hear you, my friend.
I know what kind of bit he's doing right now, but unfortunately, Zoom on the phone just cuts out when noise gets that loud.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Guys, I'm sorry. I'm not going to explain it on air, but I'm good. Everything's safe. We're okay.
Okay. I was going to say he's on the road once again, back-to-back weeks on the road. Better late than never. We're talking Tim Curry, the passing of Tim Curry. Do you have anything you would like to chime in and talk about with regards to the late, great Tim Curry?
No, other than just between Tim Curry and I'm assuming Dolly Parton, if we're going to or have talked about, just two creative giants in their field that I can't. We were lucky to have had him for this long. I don't know if you've talked about Tim's stroke that he suffered like a decade ago, and it's like, damn, he's the fact that he still had some wit if you were watching some of those some of those interviews. And for Tim in particular, it looked like he was going through it. So I'm glad that he's finally at peace. And for Dolly as well, I'm like, damn.
Dude, I just found one hell of a media find. Did you guys know that him and Dolly Parton were on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood for an episode at the same time?
Were they really?
I'm gonna send this to the chat. I was like, dude, wait. I'm like, they were born around the same time. They were just as popular throughout the 80s. I wonder if they ever crossed paths. And they did.
Damn, I'll have to check that out. That's pretty wild. They were both. I see the photo online. Holy crap, that's cute. That is so cute. Man, you can go to a petting zoo and not see that many goats in one place.
You could end wars by just the aura of those three together.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Like, moderated by Bob Ross. No, that's special. I think I told you guys this when it happened. But it was really cool. Kind of came together a little bit last minute. Catherine's a diehard fan of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and we've met a couple of the people that are in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Well, the golden goose was Tim Curry, and it was like, well, he doesn't do conventions and stuff, but he sometimes does, or he did, these like online. Like, you'd be in a chat room with like 50 people. You would mail something to him for him to autograph, and he would sign stuff on camera and talk and communicate via chat or respond to the chat. Catherine opted for that. We did that several months ago with him, and it was really cool. It was really cool. He signed our Blu-ray, the disc of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, because we didn't want to send, it's got the other signatures on it. I'm like, I don't think we should send the booklet. Let's just send the disc. That way,
that's incredible.
But yeah, and it's authenticated and everything. It was a really cool, like, little chat. Like, and it was nice. He was in, this was a few months ago. He was in really good spirits. He really was. He was in really good spirits. He was chipper. He was, making jokes and stuff like that. He was clearly physically limited and his voice and everything, but he was spirited. He was. It was really a special thing. I kept thinking about that all day. I'm really glad that Catherine opted to do it. I told her that like 3 times today. I'm like, we're glad, or you are really grateful you did that when you did.
It's crazy because like I'm just looking at like, it's 20. We just got past halfway through 2026, and it's like, forgive me if I don't name everybody, but to lose Hayden like we did, and we acknowledged that last week's show. Chuck Norris, Eric Dane, Sam Neill, Catherine O'Hara, and now Dolly Parton and Tim Curry. I mean, like, there's a ton of people I know I did not mention, but it's just like, of that age group, like Dolly Parton, Tim Curry, and everything. It's like, yeah, like we know we're gonna get there, but then like seeing the younger ones too, it's like, damn, 2026 really did hit hard.
In addition to the lady that played the pigeon lady in Home Alone 2, Brenda Fricker. We've lost 3 people from Home Alone 2 this year alone.
Yeah.
Tim Curry, Catherine O'Hara,
Can we
and
lose
Brenda Fricker. Oh, man. It's
I would say
sad,
third
though.
time's the charm, but shit, we fucking missed.
You want to talk? You know how they say death comes in threes? Fucking 3 people from Home Alone 2 alone this year. And yeah, like I said, the last 3 objectively good people in the last week, from Hayden to Tim Curry to Dolly. Like, yeah, it's really sad. There's no other way to slice it. I wanted to take the first half of the show to talk about it, and I'm grateful that Dom is back with us too.
Yeah,
we're gonna take this lines up really perfectly. We're gonna take a quick timeout intermission here. Come on back and talk the new documentary, Never Stop Chasing. Dom, I don't know if you didn't hear this in the very beginning. Never Stop Chasing was only in 126 theaters around the country.
Wow. Well, I was very lucky to have been in one of those theaters. That's incredible. Wow.
Indeed. Dominic Guanzon, Joe Viso, and yours truly. We'll be back here in just a couple of minutes after a Zoom-sponsored intermission. Don't go anywhere. It's Sleepless with Steve, live on YouTube. Almost like it's an orchestra in its own right. The shots, the blocking, the cinematography, the very austere look of this movie. And the other thing, and I love movies that do this, even if I don't quite understand them to the fullest degree. I love movies, and the Nicolas Cage movie Pig is kind of similar in this regard, where it just takes you into a very specific world, drops you in it, no real introduction, swim. And that's kind of what this movie does. Because in the first, like you said, in the first at real 5 minutes of the movie during that New Yorker festival, they're going through her resume. The interviewer's going through Lydia Tarr, played by Cate Blanchett, this famous conductor's resume. And they're referencing all sorts of conductor names that most of the audience probably hasn't heard of. A lot of symphonies, a lot of like intricate details about the art of conducting. And I'm not going to lie, I don't think I knew a single person they name dropped in this, but I was leaning forward in the beginning. I'm like, you know what, this is just really fascinating here. And like, I kind of like being in this world where like everybody has everything and everybody's miserable.
Yeah, I think
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, the misery is the best part, the most entertaining part, I should say, because it's like amidst all this wealth, pomp, circumstance, privilege, amazing status, like tens of thousands of artists would commit murder to be in one of the chairs in that orchestra. But they're all, and even though they're on that orchestra, some of them first chairs, some of them concert master, like the wife. And it's like, dude, they're all still miserable. And how, isn't that just art for you? Isn't that just art and artistry for you? But yeah, dude, I think amongst the three of us, I think it's safe to say I am the closest to this world, you, me, and Joe. But yeah, and not that I'm
definitely
remotely close at all, just relatively speaking, amongst the three of us.
Knowledgeable.
Yeah, and you know what? Actually, like North Central College in Naperville, did you notice that Wentz Concert Hall looks just like, or very, very similar to the concert hall in the movie?
I noticed that. Yeah, I did take note of that. I'm like, man, this looks like Wentz right here.
There's a reason for that. There is a shared architecture, and there's a shared general, strategies on how to approach, a symphony hall. But all that aside, it's scary accurate. There's even a scene towards the first third of the movie, first quarter of the movie, where they're doing a master class, and I've been in some music-based master classes before, and they are that intense, particularly when the person giving the master class is very up there and a little full of themselves. There's a lot of ego that drives this movie, obviously from Blanchett's character Tar, but in every character, no doubt. Oh my God, the stuffy old people eating, expensive New York, but still tiny meals is ridiculous here. But you're right, Steve. It is absolutely fascinating, and even though. I knew probably at most like 20% of the names dropped very casually in this film.
It goes deep, man.
It goes real deep. I'm like, even I know that's a deep, deep, deep cut. And yeah, dude. But even in that sense, it didn't lose. I'm glad it didn't lose either of us. And I can also see how your friend can be very much turned off by. Let's be honest. This is a very coastal elitist, rich ass bougie world where it's like, bro, especially with the midterms just happening as we're watching this, just about to happen while we're watching. No, I literally watched it yesterday during the midterms, in the middle of the midterms, and it's like, yeah, I can still see how you can not be engaged with this, and yet
this is gonna win This is gonna win Best Picture, and
this is the La La
it's gonna
Land,
be one,
kind of thing.
This is gonna win Best Picture, and this is gonna be like one of the by general audiences. And when I say general audiences, I'm not talking like even the people that use like Letterboxd. I'm talking like general moviegoers. It's gonna be one of the most maligned fucking Best Picture winners in years. Book it.
This is the East Coast La La Land. This is. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Am I wrong? That West Coast rap. West Coast rap, it's real casual. They're all they like to go with the flow. But the East Coast mother effers, they go hard. East Coast goes hard. And bro, the color palette is cold as ice.
Oh, it's austere as hell.
Kate Blanchett, lover, a generational talent. She's also one of the physically speaking, one of the brightest skinned people working in the business. Not an insult, just physically making that notice. And it's like, bro, the way they color her blue and gray in this movie just makes it colder. She looks downright lizard in this movie.
She looks like she's a mom in this movie too. She looks like she wouldn't say she wouldn't be the mom to say, I'm not mad, I'm disappointed in you. She would take it a step further and say, I'm not mad, I'm disgusted with you. That's what she looks like. Repulsed. I'm sickened by you. She always plays this type of character.
Oh, 100%.
So it's like redundant almost to say that this is a tour de force performance. I said in my review, StevePulaski.com, I said in my review that she's had probably 4 or 5 tour de force performances, and this is another one. And this is another one of hers that's just knocks it out of the park, and she's only made that much more physically imposing by the color palette of this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. And at the core of this movie, at the core of this story, is the story of a character's kind of drunkenness with power, and they're able to maintain that drunkenness very well, right? They're not stumbling about, they're not being sloppy. They're very moderately drunk in that sense, not overboard, but they are drunk with that power. We still have a Zoom sponsored intermission, but we have plenty of minutes to go. And to see where that power takes them, you could easily say that by the time the movie starts, we're already past their time is up if you follow the chain of events, more or less. But still, where this story goes,
We are back. It is Sleepless with Steve live on YouTube, coming to you live and in living color every Wednesday evening at 6:30 Central Time. It's time to talk about Never Stop Chasing. It's a brand new documentary on Reed Timmer, the famous storm chaser, meteorologist. Kind of became popular in the late 2000s, early 2010s. He had a show on television called Storm Chasers. It was on Discovery Channel. And he also starred in a documentary called Tornado Glory back in the day, which is directed by the same gentleman who directs this movie as well, in Ken Cole. But this is in a limited number of theaters. I think it's going to probably get a streaming release here very soon. It's sort of a comprehensive look at Reed Timmer's life and career. And his team known as Team Dominator. And, he's got this crew of storm chasers that go around all different parts of the Midwest. He's from Grand Rapids. I know he grew up I went to school in Oklahoma, which I think is his home base now. But he goes around to all different regions of the country whenever there's severe weather striking, and they document it for different videos or different DVDs and stuff like that they make on these storms. And then they also go nearby at the different towns and residencies to try to help after with the destruction that these storms inevitably produce. This is an interesting movie. It opens with the 2013 El Reno tornado, which was a really large and intense tornado. I vaguely remember when it did happen down in Oklahoma, and it was massive. I think to this day, it's still the widest tornado ever recorded at almost 3 miles long. At 3 miles wide, rather. And then it concludes, and I remember when this happened in 2024, the Greenfield, Iowa tornado that took place out in sort of southwest Iowa. And that was a huge tornado outbreak that rocked both Greenfield and Minden. That's sort of the climax of the movie Never Stop Chasing. We hadn't reviewed a documentary on the show this year, so I wanted to make this the first one. And what say you, Joe?
Man, dude, the way this movie starts off, when I was in the theater and I was watching it, I was like, dude, am I watching Into the Storm again? It starts out and it's the way, because Into the Storm was also a handheld movie. So the way it starts out where they're immediately going into chasing a tornado and it's already intense. You see the different perspectives from other coverage channels like the Weather Channel and local programming that's in that area. it's a great way to open up a documentary because you get to see footage of something that is dangerous, like chasing tornadoes, and it's with people you're not really familiar with. And if you're like me, these were all new people to me. I didn't know who Reed Timmer was before this and everything. So it's like, I'm like, I think that's Reed Timmer. It's like, I know what he looks like today because I did a little bit of research before the movie, but this opening takes place, I think, in 2013 or 2014.
He looks very different.
He looks entirely different. So I'm like, are these people going to be okay? And then, like, as it plays out and everything, I immediately are more on the edge of my seat. I'm like, this is a crazy-ass way to start a documentary. And it kind of keeps that momentum throughout most of the documentary. It goes into his college days as well. I really enjoyed the whole thing of them, like, when they had to take cover underneath the highway and everything. There's a lot of parts of this movie I couldn't help but feel like, did the writers for Twisters interview Reed Timmer? Because there's a lot of stuff that happened to this guy that they either have Glenn Powell's character do or Daisy Edgar Jones's character do in that movie or deal with. And it's just, I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, there are so many moments. It's like, I remember this happens in Twisters. I remember this happens in Twisters. And it's like, obviously, like, Glenn Powell is like, his character in that movie is very much modeled after these storm chasers from the Discovery Channel and everything. I don't know if it's like modeled after Reed Timmer entirely, but I mean, like, with the whole setup that he has in the rig and everything, I couldn't help but think of Powell's character from that film as well. But yeah, man, this was, well, like Steve said, we didn't get to review a documentary, but like, this is like one of my favorite things about documentaries is when they put you into the world of somebody out there doing something that you probably don't even know about. And it's probably with a profession you're probably unfamiliar with too. Because I feel like, and I'm glad the movie also brings this up too. I feel like storm chasers kind of get a bad rep from certain people. Everybody looks at that as, why the hell would you do that? Like, that's just dangerous. Oh, you're kind of glamorizing something that's causing a lot of destruction and everything. And it's like, I can't help but feel that people might feel that way because of the Hollywood movies that we get, like Into the Storm, like the first Twisters, and to an extent Twisters, even though Twisters does show like them actually going to help the community and everything and why they're documenting tornadoes and everything. But like stuff like that where like the spectacle is the destruction and all this other stuff. I feel like these storm chases get lumped into it. No, this movie takes its time really breaking down how Reed's film and videos that he would do helped meteorologists, helped programs at colleges study tornadoes even more. And eventually even too, like, one of my favorite moments in this movie, it's towards the end of the movie, is when they're going to a community that did get destroyed and they're just providing relief for that community. And Connor shares like a very like personal story about Nebraska, like 10 years ago, I guess, in Nebraska. There was like, a huge tornado and everything. And he came across a household where the mom and her daughter, 5-year-old daughter, I should say, were injured. The mom was going to live and be okay, but the daughter unfortunately dies right on the spot. And it is such an emotional moment that like it actually evoked a tear out of me, because it's like when you're watching a documentary and someone goes over this, you could tell like, A, they're not an actor. So them actually saying all this is like, it's real, but the emotions going through their face feel that much more authentic. There's shaking going on to him, tears are raining down his face, and you can't help but feel the weight of how this felt to him, and where he talks about how like, hey, like I can separate the two. I can separate the amazing like, spectacle of this tornado, and we get to document and see something like that. But I can also separate it from the fact that like it does cause this destruction and everything, and I think it says I forget the word is called. Compartmentalize it. I'm like on the verge of saying
Compartmentalize.
Thank you. There it is. Yeah, like he can like do that and like separate it from there and here and there and whatnot. And it's such a great moment in that movie that like really gives a side of humanity to these guys that I feel like people might not know about when they look at storm chasers, and might think they're just dumb kids or dumb guys going out there to chase storms. Because when I told my friends the documentary we're reviewing this week, they're like, who wants to go watch a bunch of jackasses chase tornadoes? And it's like, well, this gives you much more of a context as to why these jackasses go out there and do that. And the last thing I'll say too, and I know we're like almost gonna be butting up against the time, but like I can even go to my final rating once like we're all done giving our general thoughts. Dude, the scenes with Reed having his phone out while driving, window down while debris is flying, I'm like, this man is insane. And somebody buy this man a belt. That's all I'll say.
No,
That is
that's
so.
funny.
It
That's
is so
funny.
funny, actually. Like watching, like there are your specialized ride is fitted with cameras all over it. You're streaming live. You have two cameramen with rigs, and he's still just a guy with his phone while driving. Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, the whole thing is equipped. The whole thing is equipped with all sorts of cameras, and he's still hanging out the window and shit. I mean, you know what one of the craziest parts of the damn movie is too, is like when they're shooting the 2013 El Reno tornado, and the fucking power line gets wrapped around the car.
Yeah, the fucking
You know?
hood.
Yeah, the hood of the car, and it's like holy shit, And I understand that like. All tornadoes are dangerous. All tornadoes are potentially deadly. That's one of the biggest on record. I think the widest in history. But still, man, like the power of that in a scene like that is truly unbelievable. What
It
else
feels
to
like
add, Dom?
it feels like a blockbuster moment, but it's just a documentary. Like it feels like something you would see in those blockbusters, like a movie, like Twisters.
Very true.
Yeah. So I don't know about you, Steve. I know Joe said he wasn't familiar. I had been on and off following Reed Timmer for many years now. Storm chasing is just like one of those rabbit holes I like falling down, just because tornadoes are just an insane concept in nature if you think about it, right? It's just like, oh, a giant, like, no wonder people thought God existed for the not to call anyone out who is religious, but I'm like, no, I totally get how like religions get started based off this shit,
Mhm.
and like for so many people, uh tornadoes are just this destructive force in nature, and it is. And there is something fascinating about people who go out there and seek it and embrace it and follow it, and in some ways, uh, kind of dominate it. Obviously, you can't stop a tornado, but you can kind of, uh, you know, prove to nature and the world that hey, we can confront these things in some way or another. And that's always been my fascination with storm chasing, on top of like the scientific work that they do and this documentary covers, which I've known for a good while now. Because look, you can theorize all you want in the lab or in the classroom, but someone's got to be on the ground actually collecting this data, and that's what they're doing. That's literally the plot of the first Twister movie, right? um so watching this documentary, it's like coming full circle. I'm like, damn, these guys are really getting their moment in the sun. The best part too, in so many documentaries, you don't have the opportunity to see these things either readily accessible or at all. Whatever life that you're following in a documentary, you can literally. I did while Joe was talking. You can just go on Reed Timmer's YouTube channel, and he's got like basically like 15-minute versions of this documentary, like just hey, here's what happened with our last chase. Here's the Dominator in more detail if you wanted, right? And you just get to follow just little snippets of really what is just a bunch of dorks and a bunch of nerds. Low key, I was watching it this whole time and I'm like, I fuck with these guys so much. I bet I could hang out with them. I also bet they're like low key all autistic, because it's like this
Oh
is
yes.
like don't get me wrong, Reed is like, I think he's ripped. I think he was like doing pull-ups and shit and like jogging and stuff. He's very fit. So he's like a cool nerd in that sense. But the emotional beats, I'm so glad, because in the storm chasing community, the death of Tim Samaras, if I hope I'm saying that name right, and the other two storm chasers that are with him was like devastating.
Yeah.
I actually do remember when that news
I
came
really
out.
that yeah, I do too, because
yeah.
I remember a lot of people talked about it, and that's what kind of made me go like, maybe there's more to this storm chasing thing that I give credit for.
It's like how we've never lost an astronaut in space. Uh, we've lost astronauts to accidents. Many of them, both all nations have lost some that have the program. But like humanity has never lost a storm chaser in space, and sorry, you know what I mean, an astronaut in space, and it depends on how you classify it, but an American storm chaser had not died, at least on that level. Maybe some casual Joe, but yeah, dude, that was devastating for the community.
Yeah, and
And
it reminds me a little bit, not to cut you off. It reminds me of I've used this quote on the air before or on the show before, the Statler brothers line, "When Elvis died, we all knew that we could too."
yeah,
And like it's kind of reminiscent of that. Like those were high profile storm chasers who were killed, you say, in the line of duty. You know what I mean?
mhm, yeah, pretty much.
But oh yeah, this is definitely, you brought up like you think they're all autistic. Yeah, this is definitely a puzzle piece movie. Um, definitely. I like his motley. I don't want to call them a motley crew, even though they kind of are, because they really are professionals. I don't want to shortchange them in that way.
Right.
The only one that annoyed me from the first minute is that local man.
Oh
Dude.
yeah.
I looked him up on Instagram. That's like, that is literally what he does. That is his bit. It's so good.
I'm good. Somebody else on Letterboxd was like, that pound. I wanted to kill the pounding dude.
No, I think it's great. It's really funny.
I got over it immediately. Him and his thick rimmed glasses. I'm like, okay, this guy sucks. I'm like, I'm not a fan of this one, but. But yeah, like I don't have a ton to say about this, and I know it's weird because I'm like the one who's like, oh, we should review it and stuff. I liked it. I guess I didn't have really a true kind of emotional connection to it or like an emotional response to it. What I do like about the movie though is it does, like, I kept thinking, okay, how are they going to touch this? The glamorization aspect of it. Oh, okay, they did.
Yeah.
Are they going to touch on like a serious accident? Oh, yes, they did. Are they going to touch on about how they can mirror their coverage and stuff with local news agencies and whatnot, or like NWS or NOAA? They do a little bit of that. It's more kind of shown and not really explained, but they do a little bit of that. And then you get the really, really intensely edited bit at the end with the Greenfield tornado.
Yeah.
Which was fucking horrific when it happened. And you see like, also too, it being that it's bookended with the El Reno tornado in the beginning and the Greenfield one in the end, it also shows you just how much Reed Timmer and his team's experience and coverage has grown too.
Yeah. Yeah, he again, I'm not gonna say I'm the biggest fan of Reed Timmer, but I am a fan. And every time, and other adjacent YouTubers, there's another one called Pecos Hank, I believe, if I'm getting that name right, and just other ones that I've seen on live streams. It's really become a cottage industry, at least on YouTube. And Reed Timmer really is kind of the innovator for the current ecosystem, right? Obviously, there's even more storm chasers that go for decades on in American history, but Reed really is probably the king, the most famous one of them all, because he had the Discovery Channel show, and he was that crossover between TV into the internet. And I'm really glad that they mentioned, they did touch on that, how his original partner, Joel, I believe, he passed away too. So that was another good, like, emotional beat.
Yeah.
This documentary really did have like three big ones. It was Tim, the giant who passed away in the field, Joel, his original partner on TV, and then the little girl that the one member of Team Dominator mentioned. So like this was heavier than I thought it was. I'm glad it touched on that, because I in so many ways I felt like I was watching an extended video on YouTube, and I mean that as a compliment. But with some extra added things that do set it apart as a documentary.
Yeah.
How did you guys feel? How'd you guys feel about those slow motion moments? Those like montages where it's like, okay, this is like after a big moment has happened and we're like in slow motion.
I didn't mind it. I didn't mind
Yeah.
it. I thought it was kind of interesting. It's not used too aggressively, or it's not deployed in a real pervasive manner. You
No.
know, I think maybe if it was, it would have maybe gotten old. I thought it was used pretty well though, pretty effectively. I don't think there was that much of money with this documentary either, which makes it even more
Probably
impressive.
not. No.
It felt like, honestly, those montages were cool. It felt like, hey, we're in the glory days, like right now.
Yeah.
Like this is a moment.
Yeah.
We are the titans in the field, and we're fucking doing it. There were a couple of moments where they are passing by amateur storm chasers who are crowded around further back, and then the Dominator car drives past them, and you can hear people like cheering. It's like, oh fuck yeah, it's Dominator! Fuck yeah, it's Reed! And it's like, dude, that's fucking awesome. We're like with the A team right now. We're with the special forces of storm chasing. And there's a swagger to that this documentary really captures. And it's like, yeah, these guys fucking rule, dude. This is literally like Team Dominator propaganda. This documentary, it's really effective. So yeah.
And I think living in the Midwest too, there's a real, true connection to this. You know what I mean? We've all lived through tornadoes, even this summer. Like, we've all lived through horrible weather and shit. I mean, I'll tell you right now, like, I can remember like 2 or 3 times in my life, 2 moments when I was a kid where we actually went into the basement. Most of the time we went on the front porch. But we actually went in the basement. And I remember the 2020 derecho. I remember that and how horrific that was. And I remember like being at work and the power getting knocked out and how much wind there was. That was like one of the times I was actively terrified by a storm. Saw part of the car dealership across the street from my work's roof came off. And if you guys remember, that was August 2020. And so we were thick into the pandemic. We get this cockamamie fucking derecho with 90 to 100 mile per hour winds, and it's just like, is the fucking world gonna end now? Like what the hell is next? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember the image of like, or I remember we took cover at the radio station, and we were like, went from social distancing to like fucking take cover, right then and there. We all had masks on and shit. And I remember just looking around being like, what a goddamn year, man. Like, we all got masks on and shit, and there's some windstorm over here that's going to probably knock this tin can station down, But I mean, we have a special connection to this kind of shit too, because living in the Midwest, I mean, like, no hazard's really great, but like, I don't know, the threat of hurricanes or like feels way worse to me, and way scarier, because hurricanes are prolonged. Tornadoes.
Look, man, when I have to be told I need to board up my windows on a regular basis because of where I live, that's worse to me than going in the basement.
Yeah. When you have to get a whole type of different kind of fucking insurance coverage. When land in inland Florida is more expensive because it's inland, like, and it's a little bit away from the impact of a hurricane, that's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, the threat of hurricanes, I feel like, is significantly worse, because the other thing is too, you think about hurricanes maturate over the period of days.
Yeah.
And then the water and the cleanup and everything, like I understand a tornado can just fucking happen, but a tornado does not last a fraction as long as a hurricane can. There's hurricane coverage can last a week, but
oh yeah, just random fun fact, floodwater is literally the filthiest water you can imagine.
You're damn right it is.
Don't ever think, oh, it looks all right. No, it's actually like you will get necrosis if you just walk through that without. I'm not joking. Like, it is actually filthy. I have talked to multiple experts just in passing, and they're saying like, yeah, no, floodwater is actually the most dangerous thing.
Yeah, dude, anytime anybody's like, oh man, why don't they just swim or like through like all that to like get to safety? It's like, do you not know what the fuck that is?
It's
think of
everything.
It's everything. It's an accumulation of everything. Like literally everywhere it's been. The only thing comparably filthy is like when the fucking snow melts in a grocery store parking lot after like 4 months and reveals like a season's worth of filth underneath it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, floodwater is like, might as well be fucking poison. Like, how awful it is. But For me, I give this 2.5 out of 4 stars. I dug it. I thought it was good. I don't really think it's not especially memorable for me personally, but it's somebody I didn't know anything about Reed Timmer really. I knew of him. I knew what storm chasing was and kind of how it looked like. I know I've seen the Dominator before and everything. I think it's a fitting introduction and a decent compendium as to where he's at now. So it's like I said, it's 2.5 out of 4 for me. We'll go Joe then Dom for closing thoughts on Never Stop Chasing.
It's 3 out of 4 for me. I had a good time with it. I do feel like the pacing sometimes went up and down, which that's the hardest thing I think with any documentary is keeping a good pace about learning something. It kind of got to me as like, it's like, all right, here we go. We're on the road again. We're going to go find the tornadoes. Okay, here they come. And it's like, okay, now the pacing picks up and then we learn about some more stuff, some backstory. Okay, now we're back on the road again. And then there's a tornado, and it's just like, okay, all right. Like, it was just like, it got a little bit to me and everything. I was like, I kind of started, even though this is not even close to being 2 hours long, I was starting to feel the length. I'm like, okay, like, I know I've been sitting here for quite some time now in the theater, and it's just like, let's hurry this up a bit if we could. But a very fun at the very least, I can say this. If I'm learning something and it's a lot of fun, then the documentary to me did its job right. So yeah, it's 3 out of 4 stars for me.
Yeah, man, 3 out of 4 stars for me as well. If you're like a Reed Timmer regular watcher, this is going to be like a 4.
Oh, this is your Super Bowl.
Yeah, 100%. This is great. I do wonder, like the scene where it's the mother is talking and you get like behind the scenes. There's some good behind the scenes footage here.
There
like,
is,
from his
yeah.
youth and stuff. That was really cool. And I was wondering, like, I wonder if they could have explored more of his interpersonal relationships. There was a good sequence where it's just the guys in the garage and they're like just fucking around. Like, I wonder if we could have gotten a little more of that. Because like my only thing is like I want this to set apart from what I can just watch on YouTube.
Yeah.
For me, that's what I was looking for necessarily. But the fact that we got an extended video on YouTube, you know what? I like his stuff already, so no problems there at all. So yeah, 3 out of 4 stars. And fun fact, tornadoes can happen in Chicago, the city of Chicago. I know this because I attended a seminar from the great Tom Skilling, and he said, like, yeah, people think it's like, oh, because of the skyscrapers and stuff. It's like, no, that's a myth. A tornado could easily hit Chicago. It just is less likely to. It can absolutely, if it can. And I was like, yeah, no, he's right, because if it can hit like Naperville,
Oh yeah,
it can like it, I remember like this destroyed some houses in Naperville, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it can hit like the city of Chicago. Paris on the prairie, baby. It can hit Chicago.
Tom Skilling's a legend. He's the nicest dude. If you've ever met him, he's the nicest guy.
Yeah,
met him at our alma mater, North Central. Yeah, awesome dude. That's our show today, though. Next week is Coyote versus Acme. I've been biting my tongue in front of these
This is my
gentlemen.
Super Bowl. Oh my God.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, man.
I am
Coyote
trying to
versus
find a way to be on that show next week. Like, I really want to be there.
Been biting my tongue over here, not trying to say anything other than I cannot wait. Unfortunately, I know Joe, you said you're going to try to make it.
Yeah.
But Dom and I will manage, and hopefully we'll get a cameo from you or Ice Cube or whoever have you too.
Yeah, be ready for Ice Cube's character to pop up again, potentially.
Oh my God.
That's Coyote versus Acme next week. Super excited. Like I said, I caught the early access screening on Sunday, which was really fun and really well attended too. So it gave me some optimism about how this thing could be tracking wise at the box office. So fingers crossed you're either going to get a really good, like, happy Steve or a real rant from me.
You're going to get book smart Steve standing on his soapbox. Where the hell were all of you?
Yes, the book smart Steve, truth be told. Yes, there's a chance. Who knows so far? I guess the opening, for the early access screening, which was one showing on Sunday, it made about $400,000.
Okay.
So that's not bad. That's again 1 o'clock on a Sunday, a very random time.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I'll take it. That's pretty good.
And that's only one theater chain, I think, too. I think only AMC and maybe Cinemark had access to show it early.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I didn't look at that. I know AMC for sure. I don't know if the other ones did. And then the only other thing, I'm hoping, can we get to 15 to 20 million? Can we get there? Like, fingers crossed. I really hope people show up and support. I might actually go back sometime next week and see it again, just for the hell of it, just to double support it too. That's our show though today. Joe, thanks so much for hosting. Dom, glad you were able to join as well. We're back next week with Coyote versus Acme. You. Joe Viso, Dominic Guanzon, and yours truly. This has been Sleepless with Steve.